is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member Neal. Mr. Secretary, good to see you again. Thank you for coming back and being here and being willing to answer these questions. In recent months, more so in recent weeks, we've heard a lot of reports about the spread of illicit xylazine being cut with fentanyl. Fentanyl's using xylazine to be cut and creating this drug that we're hearing that's called tranq, or zombie drug, that does some miserable things to the human body, including eating flesh and potentially leading to amputation and making the use of fentanyl cheaper, more addictive, and even deadlier. Xylazine itself is used by people for sedatives in animals. So those are licit uses. However, there's no licit purpose for it to be used in humans. That's why I've introduced my bipartisan bicameral bill today called the Combating Illicit Xylazine Act, which will help basically allow enforcement of the illicit use of xylazine under Section 21 U.S.C., as well as using the CSA under Schedule 3 of the CSA, of the scheduled drugs. I was just wanted to make you aware of that, but also wanted to see if your department is responding to the xylazine threat in any way.
I can get back to you because I can't tell you specifically what we might be doing, but we are, generally speaking, whether it's opioids, whether it's fentanyl, we have a drug prevention strategy that tries to help localities address the scourge of drugs.
Great, thank you. Moving on to Medicare Economic Index, MEI. According to data from the Medicare trustees, Medicare physician pay nationwide has increased just 10% over the last 2 decades, as you know well. Meanwhile, the cost of care increased 42% from 2001 to 2022. This type of inflation, measured by the Medicare Economic Index, is even worse in our home state of California. This month, MedPAC recommended that Congress increase physician fee rates above the current law and make an inflation-based payment tied to the MEI. A couple of questions here for you. Can you talk more about why the physician fee schedule has failed to keep up with the cost of care? Do you agree that indexing these fees for inflation is the right solution? And is there anything that we can do legislatively to correct this?
Actually, your last statement is the most operative, Congressman, because having been where you are for 24 years, I remember going through this all the time. By law, we have to make sure we level set when it comes to the payments that we make to physicians. It has to be neutral. So if you raise it here, you got to lower it here. You have to be budget neutral. And so that's one of the issues that's at hand here. We can't change that. You have to change that. And so when you ask, is there something that we, meaning Congress, can do? You have to take a look at how you want to do the reimbursement for physicians. If you're going to leave it to us, and we have to be budget neutral, we're always going to be making adjustments that hurt some and help others.
Got it. In the same note, obviously Medicare geographic adjustments, they really haven't kept up with the cost of care and created access challenges for many constituents of mine receiving traditional Medicare. Is the HHS doing anything about the geographic adjustments having not kept up with the cost of care?
Congressman, you're talking to a Californian,
Yep.
so fully aware. Again, where we could go, how we can do it, to some degree we're constrained by statutory prescriptions. What we try to do is make sure we make the adjustments based on the best evidence we have in front of us.
Outstanding. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you.